All right. Welcome back for another deep dive.
Absolutely.
You know how this works. We take the source material,
Yeah.
we find those nuggets of wisdom, and we just share them with everybody
Precisely.
with as little fluff as possible.
That's the goal.
Today, we're taking on A8,
Yeah.
but we're not taking on the whole thing.
No.
We're really focusing in on pages 159 to 173.
Right. A very specific
Very specific.
set of pages.
Yeah. And in these pages, we're really getting into, like some huge questions.
Yeah, some really big ones.
What is cosmic consciousness?
Yeah.
How do these forces that seem so opposite shape the world?
Absolutely.
Shape us? And then what does it really mean to be on this journey of self-discovery?
Yeah.
And connecting to something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
It's really packed into these few pages.
Yeah, it's amazing how much is there.
So like right out of the gate, this idea of a cosmic passive medium pops up. And it's basically presented as the phenomenal world, like the reality we perceive, where all these possibilities turn into actual events.
That's right. Yeah, it's the canvas upon which the universe paints its picture.
Right, and that's where we exist. Right?
Yeah.
We exist within this...
We're immersed in it, yeah.
This medium, this realm of realized impulses, as it's called.
Yeah.
But the really interesting thing is that
Right.
it suggests we humans have this really unique capacity
Yeah.
through this thing called the feeling of synthesis.
Mm.
And that allows us to gain this a priori knowledge.
Right.
And a priori meaning knowledge independent of direct experience.
That's right. It's not empirical knowledge.
Right.
It's something else.
Something deeper.
Yeah, it's like an intuition of the fundamental forces
Right.
that underlie reality.
It's almost like we have this built-in understanding.
Yeah, like a blueprint almost.
Right, of the ingredients of the cosmic soup.
Yeah, and we haven't even tasted it yet, but we know what's in it.
We know what's in it. Right. And then we get hit with this
It gets very dense.
pretty intense formulation.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to read it because it's kind of hard to paraphrase.
Go for it.
Man lives in a world of realizing impulses, but by the feeling of synthesis achieves a priori knowledge of the polar opposite principles. Substantial agents, lying one above and the other below his intellectual world, in the order of synthesis and in the totality expressing the cosmic motive difference of potentials, the external active reflection of the finite reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. What
Yeah.
is the core insight? What's the nugget?
Well, I think the key is
Yeah.
that even though we're living in this world
Yeah.
of these concrete experiences, our minds have the capacity
Yeah.
to grasp these deeper forces
Right.
that shape that very experience.
Yeah.
Like we're not just passively observing.
Yeah.
We have this intuitive connection
Yeah.
to the active and passive principles,
Yeah.
the above and below,
Right.
that really drive everything.
So we're not just living in the movie.
Exactly.
We kind of understand how the projector works.
Well, we're peeking behind the curtain a little bit.
Okay, and then there's this little mention of Jupiter,
Right.
almost out of nowhere.
Seems random, but
Jupiter omnipotens velquo alio nomine appellari volueris.
yeah.
And it connects it to this supreme synthetic teaching,
Right.
or the sacred book of Thoth.
Mm-hmm.
Why bring Jupiter into it?
Oh, I think it's a nod to
Oh,
these
that's-
older traditions that recognized
Yeah.
this unifying force in the cosmos.
Right, this idea of Jupiter as this all-powerful...
Yeah, Jupiter omnipotence, all-powerful.
Right.
Or by whatever other name
Yeah.
you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's this ultimate principle.
Right.
And linking that to the sacred book of Thoth
Yeah.
suggests that this idea of a fundamental wisdom has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
In many different cultures.
Right.
And many different forms.
It's like this ultimate instruction manual
Yeah, like a user's guide
for reality.
for the universe, exactly.
Okay, so moving on, we get into this discussion of the nature of reality and human cognition.
Yeah.
And it talks about the one reality
Right.
being revealed through this system of 21 great arcana.
Yeah, like a roadmap
Right.
to understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's presented almost like this journey of understanding
Yeah.
where grasping the second part helps you approach the first.
Right.
And applying those principles to the world unlocks the third.
It's a process of unfolding.
Yeah, it's like a 3-act play of cosmic understanding.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And the text really stresses that while our individual experiences of this path might differ,
Yeah, of course.
the underlying truth revealed by the divine light of the 21 great arcana
Right.
is absolute for each person.
Yeah, it's a universal truth.
So it's a unique journey
towards
this universal truth. Okay, and then we've got Bacon showing up.
Of course.
Of knowledge is power. Fame.
Yeah.
Dropping this quote. Philosophiae objectum triplex. Deus, natra et homo.
Right.
God, nature, and man.
Classic Bacon.
And this is linked to studying the first two parts of the Book of Thoth.
Yeah.
Focusing on the great arcana about God and humanity. So how does Bacon fit into this ancient picture?
Well, I think his quote really neatly summarizes the scope of this ancient wisdom. It's saying that the divine, the natural world and humanity's place within it.
Right.
Those are the big questions. And the system of Arcana is trying to shed light on those very things.
So it bridges that ancient wisdom with more modern philosophical thought.
Yeah, nice connection point.
Okay, so why 22 great arcana?
Yeah, good question.
And why this specific order?
Right.
It's stressed that it's not random.
No.
It's a complete and closed whole derived from pure reason.
There's an order to it. Yeah. An inherent logic.
What does that say about reality itself?
Well, I think it suggests that reality has this deep structure.
Right.
It operates according to these principles.
Yeah.
And the Arcana is a way of understanding that structure through our own reasoning.
It's a map.
Yeah, it's a map.
To reality?
Well, to the cosmos, exactly.
All right. Now, we also touch on Gnosticism.
Right.
This fascinating ancient tradition.
Yeah.
And the text mentions how Gnostic teachings were suppressed, twisted, misrepresented.
Yeah, it got a bad rap.
With Simon Magus being singled out as this kind of...
Right, the poster child.
Yeah, this poster child for heresy.
Yeah.
And the church apologists doing their best to paint it in a negative light.
Exactly. They had their agenda.
Yeah, but the discovery of the Philosophia manuscript by Hippolytus in the 19th century kind of changed the game.
Huge discovery.
Right.
Yeah, it reframed the whole thing.
It revealed that Gnosticism was actually filled with these really profound philosophical ideas.
Yeah, deep stuff.
Not the meaningless ravings that it was accused of.
Totally different picture.
So it's this really powerful reminder to challenge those received narratives.
And dig deeper.
To look at primary sources.
Exactly.
Because even traditions that have been marginalized or condemned could hold these incredibly valuable insights.
They might be onto something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears to Kabbalah.
Okay.
And this idea of divine emanation.
All right.
So we get this concept of the ancient one with three heads forming one, representing this ultimate unity, the highest of the high. And the idea that other Sephirot, these divine emanations, are structured around this number three as well.
This triadic structure is everywhere.
Why is this three so important?
Well, I think it reflects this principle of unity manifesting as multiplicity, even at the highest level of divine reality.
So one source expressing itself in three ways.
Yeah. Three primary modes.
That are all interconnected.
Intertwined,
Okay, then we get this Kabbalistic phrase, I could go, ego sumki sum.
Right.
I am that I am.
Yeah.
And it's linked to Plato's totopake.
Right.
That which truly is.
Yeah.
So what's the connection being made?
I think they're both pointing to this fundamental concept of being as the ultimate ground of reality. Yeah. This self-existent essence that underlies everything.
It's like two different languages.
Exactly.
Expressing the same truth.
Different paths, same destination.
And Simon Magus shows up again with this idea, God is the totality and the prime source of the potencies of being.
Yeah.
How does that fit into this whole emanation thing?
Well, if God is the totality and the source of all potential, then everything flows from that source. Yeah. Right?
Okay, so it's like this cosmic fountain.
Yeah, a fountainhead of being.
With God at the top.
Right at the source.
And then everything else.
Cascading
down from there.
Yeah.
And then there's this wild idea.
It gets pretty out there.
Of a pre-existent nothingness.
Yeah.
She was when nothing was.
It's a mind bender.
It's a real head scratcher, right?
Yeah.
Not part of our reality.
Yeah.
But it comes before even non-being.
It precedes the void.
It's like what was before the Big Bang.
Yeah, exactly.
This is ultimate potentiality.
Yeah, it's beyond our comprehension.
And then St. Martin chimes in.
Right.
With his view of God as eternal and unchanging.
Yeah.
And our being as a borrowed drop of his essence.
We're just a small part of something much larger.
So it's this humbling perspective.
Yeah, it puts things in perspective.
On our existence.
We're not the center of the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this idea of world creation as divine self-consciousness. So the text argues that the very idea of creation is an aspect of God's self-awareness.
Right.
Making it inherently divine.
It's not separate.
Right. It's not something God does.
Yeah.
It's more like something God is.
It's an expression of God's being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the universe is God exploring its own potential.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And this creative process is described as emanation, manifestation, and reflection with the idea of thought is the connecting link.
It's the bridge.
Yeah. So emanation is this flowing forth from the divine source.
Right.
Manifestation is the actualization in the physical world.
Yeah. Things taking form.
And reflection is this mirroring back to the source.
Back to the origin.
And thought is the blueprint.
Yeah.
The design.
It's the idea behind it all.
That connects the unmanifest with the manifest.
It's the intermediary.
And this leads to the doctrine of Arcanum.
Right.
Which states the creating divinity connects the absolute and the manifested world.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, pretty foundational.
Yeah.
It establishes this bridge between the absolute, the ultimate unconditioned reality.
It's theirs.
And the manifested world.
The world we experience.
The world we know.
Yeah.
And the creating divinity
right.
is the active principle that makes that connection happen.
Yeah. It brings it into being.
And then we have Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa.
Oh, yeah.
Teaching that the world arose from the divine essence, wanting to know itself in creation.
Yeah.
Which is reflected in world passivity becoming dynamic.
Yeah.
As the triune creating divinity.
Yeah.
So there's this motivation behind creation.
Yeah.
This desire for self-understanding.
Exactly.
And then the world passivity becoming dynamic.
Right.
It highlights this interplay between potential and actuality.
Yeah, that creative tension between what could be and what is.
And it's expressed through this triune divine force.
Yeah, this
three aspects working together.
Yeah, like a three-part harmony.
And this first divine turner is said to underlie all religions.
Yeah.
With examples like the Hindu Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva.
Right.
Representing this law of sequence.
Yeah.
So this idea of a trinity isn't unique to one tradition.
It's a universal principle.
It's like this archetype of the divine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about individual consciousness and the universal whole.
Okay.
So these pages suggest that our individual consciousness is like a partial expression of this indivisible whole.
Yeah.
And it has this abstract existence arising from the possibility of limited being within divine consciousness.
It's like a wave in the ocean.
Is the wave separate from the ocean?
Well,
no.
Not really.
But it has its own form.
Yeah.
Its own movement.
Right.
And this primary divine creation involves revealing these individual consciousnesses as modes of cosmic consciousness and as these quasi-independent substances called monads.
Right.
So what are these monads?
I think of them as these individual centers of consciousness, like lenses through which the universe perceives itself.
And they're quasi-independent because
they have their own existence, their own perspective, but they're ultimately interconnected and dependent on that primary divine consciousness.
The source.
Yeah.
And the text really stresses that the self-affirmation of reality happens through this universal family of monads.
Yeah.
And their individual consciousnesses.
Right.
Where each one affirming itself also affirms the divine whole.
We're all in this together.
It's like we're all these individual notes playing a part in this grand cosmic symphony.
Beautiful image.
Okay, last but not least, divine knowledge and the nature of thought. We get this quote from Spinoza.
Right.
De intellectum, resque ab ipso intellectus, unum et idem esse.
God's intellect and the things understood by it are one and the same.
And a pretty radical idea of divine knowing.
Yeah.
So there's no separation between God's knowing and what is known.
It's not like we think.
Right.
It's different.
It's not like God thinks about things.
Yeah.
God's thinking is those things.
It's inherent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Kabbalistic perspective.
Okay.
On the first three, Sephirot, crown, wisdom, reason, is presented as a unified entity.
Knowledge.
The knower.
the known.
Poetic.
And this is contrasted with our human experience of knowledge as something separate.
We struggle to understand. We analyze, we dissect.
Right.
But for the divine, it's all integrated.
So the creator inherently is all of those things. Perceiving everything within his own essence. It's an internal experience for God.
And the final point.
Okay.
Creations achieve perfection.
Right.
By being united with their source.
Yeah.
And they lose it as they move away.
It's like a spiritual gravity. The closer you are, the more complete you are. The further you drift.
The more fragmented.
The more you lose that perfection.
So the journey is about returning to that source.
Back to the origin.
Back to that unity.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a serious deep dive.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
Into a lot of ground.
Pages 159 to 173.
Yeah.
Cosmic consciousness.
Yeah.
The passive medium, the interplay of active and passive principles, divine emanation, the role of individual consciousness, divine knowledge.
Yeah.
We touched on Gnosticism.
Yeah.
Kabbalah.
We did.
It's amazing how much
a lot packed in there
is packed into those pages.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you with this.
Yeah.
Considering this idea of the universe, a manifestation of divine consciousness, how might that change the way you understand your own thoughts, your own experiences?
Good question.
Your connection to something bigger.
It's worth pondering.
Really worth pondering.
Yeah.
And maybe exploring these traditions a little further.
A good starting point.
Yeah. Hopefully this deep dive gave you some food for thought.
Some aha moments.
Some of those aha moments.
Right.
That we love. Until next time.
Until next time.
Keep diving.
Happy dive.